The current president, like the last one, does not drink alcohol, but some of our leaders have really enjoyed their spirits. We're going to tell you which president enjoyed beer the most.
You know, sometimes you just want a nice, refreshing glass of beer. Sometimes you want a glass full of dynamite.
And we're going to have that. From the South County Brewing Company in York, with Lou Bryson, I'm Glen Macnow for a new episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Maker's Passport. Download your free digital pass and sip your way through Montgomery County. By the Conshohocken Brewing Company, featuring 4 locations and available at beer retailers throughout the tri-state area. By Visit Bucks County. Travel the Bucks County Ale Trail. Get your passport at visitbuckscounty.com. And by support from the Pennsylvania Malt and Brewed Beverage Industry Promotion Board and grant funding from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow, joined by my pal Lou Bryson, beer and whiskey aficionado, host of Seen Through a Glass podcast. Give that a listen. It's outstanding. We're at the South County Brewing Company in York. What a place here.
Stunning.
Crossway Drive, and today we're going to focus high alcohol beers. We start with theirs, Lou. Give this a try. This is the Virgil Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels, conditioned on coffee and vanilla.
And it's all there.
Yeah. I mean, delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Strong.
Yep.
Now, we came to this topic because of this. I read this story. In Scotland, the company Biter Fire is brewing the world's strongest beer. It's the 88 brewery. It's a 75 ABV, 150 proof beer. Why? According to the head brewer, this is his quote, "We had some brainstorming sessions about what product we could create that would make people act even more reckless and stupid than they already are. Out came a beer so strong that one bottle could turn anyone drinking into a belligerent havoc-wreaking fool." You shook your head when I mentioned the 75% ABV.
This is beer with spirits added. That's not beer.
Oh, that's not beer?
A beer cocktail.
Okay, well, then I tell you what. Let's try this, my friend. Actually, you go first.
Oh, I got one here. I have the famous Bourbon County Stout.
Oh, yeah, good stuff.
This baby clocks in at 14.7%.
Ooh, pour us a little bit of that puppy.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the thing about this is, a little bit goes a long way. These beers are made for sharing, right? You don't want to just go to the local tappy and put down 3 or 4 of these. That would be reckless. Ooh, this thing comes out pretty strong.
Yeah, you're smelling that bourbon right away, right?
Mm-hmm. I definitely, I got to tell you, it's bourbon in a glass.
That's pretty boozy.
All right, give me a couple of tasters because I need this here. I brought you this one. I can top that. This is the Fimbulavinter, Belgian style. It's a quintuple. What's a quintuple? We knew what
it's turned up to 11.
Well, yeah. So what? Actually, yeah. It comes in at 16.9% alcohol. This was brewed in November 2017, so you know it's got to be good.
And who's that from again? Is that
This
Avery?
this is from Avery. Yeah,
Okay.
this is from Avery. What else can I tell you about it?
That is a lot more lively.
Here's the spiel about it. Find warmth in this rum barrel-aged odyssey, a legend of our steadfast brew warriors in their quest to take a traditional Belgian yeast to new heights of glory. I don't think you can top 16.9%, my friend.
Careful what you say, Glenn. You have made me reach down.
Oh, the
get out the monster.
Bottle is here.
Sammy Adams Utopias, what I would say is the strongest real beer in the world at 28% and all fermented.
So how do they do this? And pour me some while you're explaining it.
You get...
Oh, you're just opening this bottle.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
cow.
This is a big day, man. So you get really, really strong yeasts.
Yeah.
And you get, oh, dude, clean glass for this.
I know.
You feed it a lot of stuff. That's way too much.
Yeah. I am not finishing all this.
Yeah, you feed it a lot of stuff that's easy for yeast to eat. Maple syrup, honey, all kinds of things.
Okay, so when,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pouring a smaller amount here.
When does beer stop being beer? You know what I mean? I kind of like it, but that's not beer.
No, it's not beer. It's
right. What do you call this?
I did a tasting with this and a tawny port, like a 30-year-old tawny port, and a cognac, and it slotted right in there.
Yeah, it's like a cognac.
Yeah.
Okay. For you, Lou Bryson, what's the strongest beer that you would regularly drink?
You know, regularly, I have Bigfoot every year, and it's 10.
Okay.
I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I drink a fair amount of Troganator, which is, I think, in the 7s.
All right, maybe an imperial stout, something like that will come in. So this, and everybody knows this, the Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA, a very special beer. This one clocks in at 17%. I respect it. I like Dogfish Head. I can't drink this.
No, I know.
I mean, I really can't. You know, 2 sips of this and I'm done.
I can't finish one of those.
Mad Elf. I'll do some Mad Elf in the holidays, right? But that, to me, again, a sharing beer.
Yes.
So, okay, how do brewers pull this off? How do you turn, one of this into this? You just like keep going through it and going through it, sift to sift?
You have to bring up the right yeast. You got to have a yeast that is used to high alcohol, because high alcohol will stunt a yeast. It just knocks it out, kind of like us.
This will knock us out. Again, sharing beer,
Oh, yeah.
a little bit goes a long way. Seasonal stuff, not so much for the summer.
No.
Okay, but we have enjoyed our powerful beers, and I think in the next segment.
Can we back off now?
Yes,
Okay,
next
good.
segment we're going to go down to something a little easier here at this beautiful place that we are. In fact, coming up, we're going to talk about presidents who drank beer, most of them, and you'll be surprised who was the one who enjoyed beer the most. We're at the South County Brewing Company. It's on Crossway Drive in York with our Magic Genie bottle. Lou Bryson, Glen Macnow. Ooh, what's brewing? I see a great segment coming up. Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing along with Lou Bryson. I'm Glen Macnow. We are at the South County Brewing Company in York, where after that segment, Lou, I've reverted to a nice 5% Helles here. It's their 851 Helles, very refreshing. What about you?
I'm going back a little bit with an IPA here.
Good call. All right. Couple of newsy notes here. So, Madison Square Garden owner James Dolan, he also owns the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers. I know you're not a sports guy. We hate both those teams. He may be the worst owner in sports, well, other than Daniel Snyder. He's also the most vindictive. Let me tell you this story. So, Dolan is at war with various other companies and is taken to using facial recognition technology to scope out the lawyers of the companies that are suing him as they attend games in Madison Square Garden. There was one woman, she was an attorney with a firm that sued him. She wasn't even involved in the case. She was at a game with her child. An usher came up to her during the game and told her that they had to leave. Now, here's the upshot of it. Here's why we're doing this on this show. By the way, we also hired a private investigator to trail the State Liquor Authority investigator.
I was stunned by that.
Yes, not smart. There is a regulation in the New York State Liquor, with the New York State Liquor Authority, that if you run a venue, you cannot discriminate against people just because they criticize you.
I think it's telling that that's a law in New York.
Yes. Well, you know what it was born out of? It was born out of Broadway theater critics being banned from going to theaters if they wrote negative reviews. That's how they started it way back in 1941. I wonder if it applies to Yelp, actually. I guess so. But Dolan may be in violation. The upshot of it is Madison Square Garden may lose the right to serve beer next season. Who goes to a hockey game and doesn't have beer, I ask you?
What's the point?
Absolutely. All right, this one is from you. You sent me this picture. Who am I looking at here?
This is the new president of the Czech Republic. This is Peter Pavel.
Love the name.
Is that a great name?
Yes.
Yeah. And the guy looks like he's out of central casting.
He is carrying a keg of beer while hiking in the mountains. He's a paratrooper. I want to vote for that
general.
guy. Yes, I like that guy. He is quite the beer guy. On a trip to Berlin, he posted a photo of himself on Instagram tapping a beer keg with the line, "Beer for dinner doesn't tap itself." Anyway,
Very
and
Czech.
here is a picture of him you see during the campaign wearing a beer hat. Our current president, nor the last one, nor maybe any, posed with a beer hat. But many before have been beer fans. You know Yards Brewing, which we respect very much, has a series of beers honoring the founding fathers. You ever try any of those?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was a big fan of Thomas Jefferson back in the day,
Yeah. You and Tom hung out.
Well, no,
down
it's
in Mount Vernon.
that strong beer thing.
Yes.
You can only have so much.
All right, so there's a journalist named Mark Will Weber who wrote a book, Mint Juleps with Teddy Roosevelt, The Complete History of Presidential Drinking. I'm going to read, you give me your response. Obama was a beer guy. That we know. There's a lot of pictures of him with cold beer, right? They had the...
And obviously enjoying it.
Yes, and obviously enjoying it. Before that, James Garfield, very short-term president, I mind you, liked beer and drank nothing else.
Wow.
JFK drank daiquiris and Heineken, which Will Weber knows at the time was considered a big deal because it was imported.
I just find the daiquiri thing amusing given the whole Cuban connection.
Oh yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Do you have the same anti-Heineken stance, the hatred for Heineken, that Joe Sixpack has?
Oh, no, I drink it out of a can, so it doesn't get skunked.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know that Joe Sixpack thinks Heineken is all the evil in beer.
Oh, well.
Okay. The president who enjoyed beer the most, Grover Cleveland. Did you have that in your answer
Grover
card?
Cleveland is the answer to so many. You know what president did that?
Grover Cleveland. He drank a lot of beer and pretty much beer exclusively. According to Will Weber, Cleveland and a fellow politician once took a vow to hold themselves to 4 beers a day.
Only.
I got to be honest, Lou. Sounds like us.
All day, every day.
Do you trust someone more? I'll put it the other way. Do you trust someone less if they don't drink?
Wow.
Again, politics aside, neither Biden nor Trump were drinkers, so we are not getting into the politics of it.
That's true. It's an equal opportunity thing. Yeah, I do a little.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
Why?
I just wonder.
Yeah?
I just wonder.
Less of a guy?
No, mostly I wonder if they're judging me.
Oh, I get that. All right, real quick. Story in the New York Times recently. We're seeing post-pandemic challenges of getting people back to the office, going back to cities, going back to the office. So bosses are trying incentives, including pickleball courts. Yeah, that's going to get me.
Yeah.
Extra child care, in-office massages. Apparently that doesn't interest you.
No.
And beer. Let me read you this story. At a New York real estate company called Orchard, it means employees were greeted on a recent day with the rumble of a bar cart rolling past their desks as the head of facilities played a Chumbawamba classic, I Get Knocked Down But I Get Up Again. I know that song. While offering beverages from the ice bucket filled with 6-point IPAs, Modelo's, and Sauvignon Blanc. The bar cart had a photo of Jimmy Buffett with the caption, "It's 5 o'clock somewhere." In New York at the time, it was 4:54. What do you think? Get people back to work?
You know, I mean, my wife and I both work for like small farmers. We did that every Friday. It was a thing that made us happy about being in the office.
Can people drink beer and be successful at work? Well, we do.
Yup.
There you go. Coming up, we'll talk to a man who really knows about beer and drinking. He's in France. Joe Sixpack next on What's Brewing. Hey, it's Glen Macnow here with Andrew Colligan, genius and chief bottle washer at the Conshohocken Brewing Company, here to show us what's hot for 2023.
Our lead dog, Type A IPA, citrus and grapefruit, 7% West Coast IPA.
Love this one. It's coming home with me. What's next?
Life Coach, our hazy IPA, our fastest growing brand, juicy and citrusy, perfect for any hazy IPA.
And very crushable. Keep going.
Ring the Bell, our American lager, crisp, clean, easy drinking, tastes especially good down at the game.
No better way to celebrate a win. And
Backpack beer, our Belgian-style wheat, light, refreshing, and approachable. Throw a couple backpacks in your backpack.
I'm gonna go take a hike. Finally,
Bubba's Row, our classic ESB, proud to make maybe one of the best English ales in the country. Philly loves an underdog. Support your local brewery and watering hole.
it's a beautiful sentiment. All these available at Conshohocken Brewing locations or wherever great beer is sold. Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow. This is the time of the show where we go 4,000 miles away to France, checking with our friend Joe Sixpack. And even from that distance, Joe Sixpack, you know that with the warm weather coming, people are starting to plan spring, summer vacations, and you say stay in Pennsylvania. Well, actually, one's outside, but stay close because there's some great beer trips you can take. The first one starts right up the road with our friends at the Bucks County Ale Trail.
Right. I think that everybody should choose a great beer destination for their travel, and there's a great one right in the whole Bucks County area. Their Ale Trail is one of the best in the states. Glenn, you and I have been to almost every single brewery in Bucks County, and really have had a great time over the years with our filming in those locations. I can highly recommend them. You should check out the Ale Trail website at Bucks County. Though you can even get a passport and you'll get a free T-shirt if you click off enough locations. And you know, if you're already from Bucks County, you want to move on, go online, go to visitpa.com. They have a list of all of the ale trails and beer trails through the state. So pick a good one. It's a good day trip.
Pennsylvania really is a treasure trove of great beer areas, and you're right, Bucks County. We start with that. Let's go just a little bit further out, and our show did a feature on this a couple of years ago. Lidditz, Pennsylvania. What might we find there?
This is one of those great towns where you could just spend the whole day there. Lidditz is small town, USA, wonderful tourist place, very quaint. Pennsylvania Dutch area out there in Lancaster County. The downtown has the famous Moravian Historic District. There's no fewer than a half dozen breweries in the immediate vicinity, including Collusion, which you and I have been to, Appalachian, Fetish, Compass Mill, really fantastic breweries, a lot of fun. You can go to the Sturgis Pretzel Factory and you know, fill up on that. And there's also the Bull's Head Public House, which is frequently voted the best beer bar in the whole country. Great location.
Beer, pretzels, shoe fly pie. It's a well-rounded diet. Just one thing. Did you say one of those breweries was called Fetish?
Yes, it is called Fetish.
Okay.
It's a beer fetish.
So they say. Anyway.
Yes.
All right, well, I'll check that one out for sure. And then I find myself in Pittsburgh once or twice a year. I have not done the beer scene over there. Help me out. Help our viewers out.
Yeah, it's got a fantastic selection of beers, a lot of really good bar hopping around the vicinity of PNC Park. You know, you think of Pittsburgh, you think of Iron City, a beer that may not be at the top of anybody's list, but there's a lot of other breweries there, including Dancing Gnome, which is famous for their juicy IPAs, Cinderland's Photo House, which has these wonderful mixed fermentation brews, Strange Roots with their barrel-aged beers, and finally, Church Brew Works, located in a former Baptist church. Great visit.
That's nice. I have not looked at the schedule. Shame on me to see when the Phillies play the Pirates. Go out there this summer. But the ballpark is terrific. The neighborhood around it, so you plan that along with a beer trip. That's a really nice weekend or middle of the week trip. I love it, and it is a great chance to explore new breweries. All right, let's go a little bit east and let's go to Atlantic City. Everybody goes to the shore for this summer. What's the sights?
Well, beer festivals are a great way to check out a town. I really would highly recommend the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival. It's a 2-day event, weirdly on June 2nd and June 4th. I guess it's to give everybody a little bit of rest in between. And it returns this year to Bader Field, the old airport in Atlantic City. So you have an outdoor event, and it features wonderful music. And this year it actually has the Dropkick Murphys, so it's a pretty named band there that's going to be playing.
Yeah, that is a great band. All right, so that takes care of my summer. In the fall, maybe I'll get a little more ambitious, save up all my money, go overseas, and go to
Munich Oktoberfest. It's got to be on every beer lover's wish list. It's a must-do for anybody. It's the biggie. This is beer mecca as far as I'm concerned. Once in a lifetime expedition. 6 million people show up in Munich, which is really only about the size of Philadelphia, and they squeeze into tents that think of like a tent the size of the Palestra.
Yeah.
And they fill up these tents and drink lots of big liters of beer, lots of food. Put it on. If you can't make it this year, definitely put it on your list to go to down the line. This year's begins on September 16th, by the way. Oktoberfest begins in September traditionally, so make sure you plan ahead.
I think that's great. I've never been there. My son went a couple of years back, was in one of those tents. It was an extremely rainy day. He lost his sneaker in the mud in the rain, was going to go back and try to find it. There's 180,000 people between him and his shoe, so
yeah.
He went home shoeless. Nonetheless, had a great time, and all of those are great trips, whether they're 30 miles away or 3,000 miles away. Joe Sixpack, there's always good beer, and you always find it. Hey, here's to you. Till I see you next week, my friend. We'll be back with more on What's Brewing.
So we went to this place called Bucks County for vacation. There was so much to do. We played games, rode on a train, and visited Kids Castle. I went on rides, water slides, and got to hang with Elmo at Sesame Place. We hiked to this huge boulder field called Ringing Rocks. Oh, and I got to meet a pilot. That was so cool. You gotta go.
Welcome back to What's Brewing. We're at South County Brewing Company here in York. We're joined by, of course, I'm with my friend Lou Bryson, Glenn Smith, entrepreneur. He's going to tell you why this area is amazing. And J.R. Heaps, who is the head brewer and CEO of this magnificent place. Now, J.R., I am drinking something here called Phosphine Dream. It is an oat IPA.
Correct, yes.
I've never had an oat IPA. What are you doing here?
So basically we're trying to lean on the malt characteristics of malted oats.
Oh, I like that.
And, nice.
I do, yeah.
Trying to bring forward some body, some silkiness, and oats actually are known for just a touch of spice as well, which kind of plays nicely with the hops. It's taking the New England style, it's pushing it a step further. It's a brewing challenge because brewing with all oats is not common in most brew houses.
Is it all oats?
Almost 70% oats in that one. Yeah, so
Wow.
we're really trying to push a profile and then using some of the very familiar Northwest hops that you would be familiar with in New England IPAs.
Well, I just love the creativity of it because,
Yeah.
again, I've not seen it before.
Wow, malted oats. How about that? No raw oats, it's all malted oats?
Yeah, no raw, malted, and then we use some raw wheat, and then we also use flaked oats.
Wow.
Okay, so
Wow.
you've got this new facility here,
Correct.
which is beautiful, state of the art.
Oh, that's a great background.
Yeah, you see it behind us. You're doing beer, but you're doing more than beer.
Yeah, we are. We have a spirits program, which we just kind of got started, so to speak. We have a beautiful 500-gallon Vendome hybrid still. We have some single malt laid up in New American Oak, and then we also have some bourbon laid down. We're continuing to add to that. Obviously, time's a component there.
I was going to say, ETA for those things?
We have some smaller 15-gallon specialty barrels that maybe in a year, if it's something that presents itself as a somewhat mature bourbon, and we feel comfortable with it. But we also do have agave spirit that's coming.
Oh, very nice.
I know a lot of Pennsylvania producers are interested in that because of the, any Pennsylvania producer can sell the products
Sure.
of another
Yeah,
Pennsylvania
absolutely,
producer. Everybody wants to do margaritas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
very good.
it's hard
All
to
right,
do.
Tell people how to find this place.
Okay, so if you're familiar with South Central Pennsylvania, where I kind of tell people we're between Harrisburg and Baltimore. We're on the I-83 corridor, and we're on the Leader Heights exit. So either north or south, you're going to get off at Leader Heights, and right here by the Sheets, we're just up behind it on Crossway Drive.
Behind the Sheets, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that is Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, man.
very, very common.
I'm a
landmark.
Wawa guy, and not embarrassed to say it. Days and hours? Sorry, caught you
No, it's
mid-sip
okay.
there.
Tuesday 4 to 9. We go Wednesday through Thursday 11 to 9, Friday, Saturday 11 to 10, and then 11 to 9 again on Sunday.
Well, you should get here. The beer is magnificent. You've seen some of the surroundings here. They are just great.
It's
All right.
incredible.
Yeah, Glenn Smith, nice to see you again, as always. We were talking, and you think that where we sit right now is kind of in the heart of a very underrated beer area.
I absolutely do. When you take a look at Pennsylvania, we're a leader in craft beer in so many ways. There's an amazing scene in Philadelphia, amazing scene in Pittsburgh, but in central Pennsylvania, there's so much going on. We've got 5 counties. If you take a look at Adams, Cumberland, Dauphin, Lancaster, and York, there's over 90 breweries sitting here in South Central Pennsylvania.
All right, so what are some of the ones that we may be more familiar with, or some of the ones we may be less familiar with?
So everybody's going to be familiar with Trogs. We have Trogs here in Dauphin County. Over in Adams County, you have Fourscore, which is making a lot of headway. You got Mellow Mink, you've got Pizza Boy, you've
Evergreen.
got Evergreen, you've got Springhouse is really doing a fantastic job over in Lancaster, and then there are just so many hidden gems
A lot
that
of
you
tiny
may not
ones.
have heard of, and you go, my God, they're making fabulous beer.
So is there a way, because you're very involved in tourism, we've talked to you before, you've got the ale trails, you've got the bus trail and so on, how do you spread the word that places like South County and all these others are out there? I guess that's why we're here. That's part of the show. But other than that, hello. But how do you really get it out there?
Well, we talk to everybody and anybody we can. We're trying to work with the Department of Agriculture in Pennsylvania, who really put a lot of forethought into beer tourism here in Pennsylvania to make this a national craft beer destination. Being here and saying, all of you guys, please come, and just talking to anybody and everyone about craft beer.
So Lou,
That's literally why I started my podcast. To get more attention for Central Pennsylvania beer.
Seen through a glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Asheville, North Carolina is not a major metropolitan area, but people think of it, they think of beer.
Huge beer site.
Can the middle of Pennsylvania, between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh?
I was thinking about that, and I was going to say, we don't have the Sierra Nevada, we don't have the Dales, we don't have this, but Trogs is getting there, and if that's your anchor, yeah, I think you can start to pull.
Yeah, very, very nice. Well, I got to say, we've really enjoyed this beer, all our beers here. You make terrific stuff, and you've got
Thank you.
Beautiful facility. JR, it's great to see you. Glenn Smith, always great to see you. Lou, my friend, we will do it again.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
And everybody, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Maker's Passport. Download your free digital pass and sip your way through Montgomery County. By the Conshohocken Brewing Company, featuring 4 locations and available at beer retailers throughout the tri-state area. By Visit Bucks County. Travel the Bucks County Ale Trail. Get your passport at visitbuckscounty.com. And by support from the Pennsylvania Malt and Brewed Beverage Industry Promotion Board and grant funding from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.